Hello and happy Saturday. I hope you are all having a great weekend. I know I am, and it's just beginning. So if you are hopping on here with me live, let me know in the comments. And if you're watching the replay, hashtag replay, just so I know that you were here with me. So I titled this that God is still in the miracle working business and He will fill your tank too. And I just want to share with you a miracle that He gave me this week, and there's no other explanation for it. I know it was from Him. And, some of you will believe what I tell you, and some of you may not. Some of you may be a little skeptical. Some of you may think I'm crazy, but what I'm about to tell you is true. It's very true, and it's something that sometimes we ask God for things and He works a miracle in our life, and sometimes He blesses us without us having to ask for it. And sometimes it's just, there's a purpose in it for sure. And, sometimes we may know what the purpose is, sometimes we may not. Sometimes it's just because He wants to bless us. But, I just want you to know that God is for you, and that He is with you, and He is still in the miracle working business. Sometimes it's easy for us to believe for a miracle for somebody else. Sometimes it's easier for us to believe for miracles of healing, miracles for financial blessings, miracles on our job, and, in our families. But sometimes, when God gives us a miracle, we tend to not believe it was Him. But I want to share with you something that happened this week to me. And so things like this, I've heard my granddaddy preach about. I've heard my uncle share about. I've heard other people share things about. But I have to say, this is probably one of the only times that I remember something like this happening to me personally. Hey, Tim and Susan. So I just want to share with you, because my point in sharing this with you, number one, is to give God glory, because He alone deserves it. But I also want it to build your faith and build your hope and build your belief, because, I don't know what you may be going through, but hopefully something I share today will encourage you, will give you hope, will give you something to hold on to. Hey, Sheila, thanks for hopping on here with me. If most of you know, I got married in August, and so we've been splitting our time. So most of the time I'm in Sharpsburg, during the week, and we're at my house. I'll come back to my house during the week if I have things going on in Columbus. And that's what happened this week. So on Wednesday, I go to a Bible study near my house, and so I drove from Sharpsburg back here Wednesday, and then Thursday I teach a Bible study at my church on Thursdays. So I had filled up with gas, because you can't get anywhere without gas. And so on my way to my Bible study Wednesday night, I stopped near our house in Sharpsburg and got gas and drove here. And then the next day before my Bible study, I went to work out with my trainer, and he's in Phoenix City. So I drove to Phoenix City, and just around the corner from his studio, I stopped at the gas station to get a couple of bottles of water. Now, mind you, I had filled up with gas the night before. And I don't make it a habit of looking at my gas gauge. I know pretty much when I'm going to have to fill up based on what all I've been doing. But keep in mind, I had filled up the day before. And so when I pulled into the parking spot in front of the gas station to walk in, my eyes just kind of caught my gas gauge. And I looked, and I had a half a tank left. And I was like, well, I don't know why I just looked at that, but that's about right, because I just drove probably, I don't know, maybe 100 miles, probably a little more than that, maybe 150 miles from when I filled up. So I go into the gas station, get my 2 bottles of water, come back out, get in my Jeep and crank it up. And look at the gas gauge. And if full is right here, the level was right here. And I just sat there for a minute looking at it. And I was like, wait a minute. When I walked in, my gas gauge was on half a tank. And when I just came back out, my gas tank is almost full. There's no other explanation. Like, somebody said, well, did somebody pump some gas for you? No, I wasn't at the gas pump. I had pulled in front of the door to the store. Like, nobody pumped any gas in my car. They wouldn't have even had time to take out a gas can, and my gas tank holds about 18 gallons. There's no way that anybody else could have put gas in my car but God. And so I just sat there staring at it for just, a brief minute, and I'm thinking, God, did you just top off my gas? And I just sat there just thinking, wow, that's incredible. What a blessing. And so I go to work out, and then I'm thinking, well, I'm sure the enemy, he doesn't like me like giving credit to God. So he's like, your gas gauge is wrong. When you come back out from your workout, that gas gauge is going to be back down to a half a tank. But still, like in the back of my mind and in my heart, I was like, no, I believe that God topped off my gas. I believe that he filled my tank back up. So I go work out. I get back in my Jeep to go to my Bible study I'm leading. And when I crank up, sure enough, my gas gauge is on. It's like, here's full, here's my gas gauge. Here's full, here's my gas gauge. Whereas before, it was on half a tank. When I got back in, it was up here. So I'm going down the J.R. Allen, and I'm thinking, like, this was a miracle. Like, God just topped off my gas. And I texted my best friend, and I was like, I think God just topped off my gas. And I sent her a picture, because when I was came out of my workout, I took a picture of it. And so then I was on my way, and so near my church there's a gas station, and the enemy's coming in saying, God didn't do that for you. Like, what would make you think that God would even be able to fill your gas tank, much less why would he do that for you? It was something I had not asked for. I'd not said, God, I need gas. Because I did ask for that one time when I was foolish, and I had forgotten to fill up, and I was in Gatlinburg going up the Smoky Mountains where there is no gas station, and I was out of gas pretty much. And I was like, God, if you'll just get me to the gas station, like, just help me get back down this mountain, I will pull into the first gas station I see. And he thankfully did. He thankfully did. So I did pray for it that time, but this time I did not. And going from Somerville Road, I think I said Schaumburg earlier, but Somerville Road in Phoenix City to Veterans Parkway where my church is, the enemy and I were battling back and forth. He's like, God didn't do that. And I'm like, yes, God did. And so then I was like, okay, I really want to share this at my Bible study because this is a miracle. And I thought, but, because a lot of times the voice of the enemy talks us out of God's blessings. And so I thought, okay, I know how much my gas tank holds. And the enemy the whole time was going, your gas gauge is wrong. Like, your gas gauge is wrong. So I thought, okay, I'll pull into the gas station and just see how much I can pump. But I'm believing that I'm not going to be able to pump much gas at all. So I pull into the gas station. I start pumping. Sure enough, it stops on 2 gallons. That was all it would hold, 2 gallons. And, it popped off the first time, and I thought, okay, let me just squeeze it a little more just to make sure. And sure enough, it stopped at 2 gallons. And when I got back in, then the needle was above the full. It was above the full. That just confirmed it for me. God topped off my gas tank. And so I thought about that, and I thought, Ephesians 3:20 and 21 says, now unto him who is able to do exceedingly and abundantly above all that you could ask or think, according to the power that works within us. Unto him be glory through Christ Jesus. God blessed me without me even saying it. I didn't have to ask him to fill my tank. He just did it to bless me. He did it for a sign. He did it so that he knew I would share it with people, you know, regardless of what they think. Like, if they think I'm crazy or they don't believe me, they're skeptical, like, it doesn't matter. I'm sharing this story because I know that if you will receive it, like, it will build your faith. And, you know, Philippians 4:19 and 20 says that my God shall supply all your needs according to his riches in glory through Christ Jesus, and unto him be glory. And so, you know, if we're quiet about those things, like, God doesn't get the glory out of it. It would just be building my faith. But I share that with you because I want it to build your faith. And I want you to know, like, God's still in the miracle business. And I shared I went to a training for a women's ministry event today, and I was sharing this, and I felt like God was saying, like, he wants to fill your tank today, regardless of what that tank is. If you're empty, if you're half empty, if you're half full, like, he wants you to be full. And regardless of what that tank is, it might be your spiritual tank. He wants to fill your tank. It might be your gas tank, like it was for me. He wants to fill your tank. Now, he may not fill it, you know, he may not fill it like that, but he may send somebody your way to bless you financially so that you can fill it. He's going to make a way to fill your tank. It might be mental. It might be a mental tank he needs to fill. It might be emotional. You know, it might be anything like that. It might be you need healing in your body. He wants to miraculously fill your tank so that you will overflow and share that with other people. And so I just want you to know, like, I don't know what your situation is like today, but I know